Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Force here, and today I'm going to be going over some upcoming changes to Reinhardt, including some bug fixes of some well-known problems, and a couple of buffs that Blizzard has decided to give to our good old friend. Now, this is all coming from a post this afternoon by Jeff Kaplan, addressing some of the reported, known, and reproducible Reinhardt bugs that have been talked about over the past couple of months. Basically, since the anniversary event took place, there were lots of reports of a ton of issues. I've covered this in a couple of videos now if you guys are interested in checking those out, but basically he was having issues with Fire Strike, with his basic attack, with Charge, and with Earthshatter. Essentially, all of Reinhardt was messed up in some capacity for a lot of players. So Blizzard has now officially addressed and is going to be fixing many of these issues, along with giving him a couple of buffs. So the first one that we're going to talk about is Fire Strike. Evidently, the hitbox was too small. Now, in saying that Fire Strike's hitbox was too small, this tells us that they're going to be increasing the size of his hitbox. So those of you who have been playing Reinhardt recently, if you felt like your Fire Strikes weren't hitting as often, they are going to be a lot more likely to hit if you are, slightly off target. If you're firing at a moving target and it's not dead on, it may have just slightly missed in the past, whereas now, thanks to this increased hitbox size that they're going to be giving Fire Strike, they'll be hitting much more frequently. There was also a bunch of hammer swing issues that were affected by high latency. Those have been addressed and fixed. Now, on top of this though, here's the buff that we were mentioning, is that there's an increased speed for Reinhardt's hammer. It is now being increased by 10%. Now, this was an update with patch 1.13 that was on the PTR. We talked about this a couple of days ago, but this is not a buff to ignore. I mean, a 10% increased speed means he's going to be dealing that much more damage. His hammer swing will be happening 10% more quickly, which means he'll be capable of outputting more damage over several swings. If you're just doing one swing, it doesn't make a difference. You're just doing it slightly faster. But over the course of several swings, it'll be happening faster, which means he'll be doing more damage. So that's a nice little buff to Reinhardt's damage output. Now, there was also evidently problems with animation canceling. There were some bugs that those have been fixed. I'm going to assume that they're talking about the hammer swing and shield animation canceling technique. Reinhardt players have been using it for quite some time. It's a way to swing your hammer, have it connect, but then cancel the rest of the swing animation. Basically, you get about halfway through the swing animation till it connects, and then you can do other things like lift up your shield to protect yourself. So this animation canceling technique is a method that Reinhardt players can use in order to do damage but still protect themselves and not have their shield down the entire time. So it's a fun trick to learn if you play Reinhardt often, and there was a bug that was making it so this was no longer possible, and that has evidently been fixed. Also, Fire Strike and Charge animations weren't syncing up correctly, so that has been addressed and fixed. Also, Charge will now reliably pin targets instead of knocking them back. So there were a lot of instances where Charge was just pushing people around instead of connecting to them and pinning them. Now, Charge, according to Jeff here, is a cone-based attack, so there still might be some issues that surface up just by the nature of cone-based attacks and how they interact with the environment and with the movement of other players. And then the last big change here is that Charge now will reliably pin targets when moving up steep stairs or ramps. This was something that evidently was not happening as frequently as it should. And then finally, there apparently still might be an issue with Earthshatter not picking up targets under certain circumstances, and they do intend to fix this issue in the next patch. In the last video we did talking about this, we showed a clip of Earthshatter not connecting to a Mercy that was right in front of the Earthshatter. That's obviously a situation that should never be happening. That Mercy should have clearly been hit. So hopefully Blizzard figures out what's causing that and does indeed address them. So this is really big for Reinhardt players. A ton of bug fixes that are going to make Reinhardt feel a lot better. We've got a bigger Fire Strike hitbox coming through. We've got fixes and an increase, which is a nice buff to the hammer swing of Reinhardt. So swinging the hammer should feel better. Fire Strike should feel better. Charges should be connecting more reliably. They should be connecting when you're attacking people upstairs. All around, Reinhardt players should be in a much better place once this update does go through. This should all be coming through, I believe, with PTR patch 113. And again, any remaining issues they're actively looking into. So this is really big. We've been talking about these changes and people have been complaining about them since the anniversary event. And a lot of the community of people who play Reinhardt really felt like Blizzard wasn't acknowledging and addressing these issues. But here it is, a bunch of fixes, and they're going to continue to look into him if any more stuff pops up. And I'm also really excited to see, even if it's just a slight buff, that buff to his swing speed. Hopefully that makes Reinhardt feel a little bit bit better. He's always been one of my favorite heroes to play. I think he's a lot of fun, and even though he might not be super popular at the moment with the dive-focused meta shifts, and you know, sooner or later Reinhardt's gonna come back into his true form, and when he does, now a lot of his bugs have been addressed. That's a good thing. All right, everybody, that's gonna do it for me here today. As always, I want to thank you all so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you have a good one, and until next time, I'll see you later.